It's our first big slate of the NBA season. We got 12 games. Let's talk some basketball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and we are here to talk NBA opening day number 2. That's right, there is not 2 games today, there are 12. Lots of action going on, but to talk about those 2 games real quick, they were strange. Lakers did not play as well as I thought they would. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, especially my bets. And the Warriors Suns, no Bradley Beal out of nowhere. I thought he was going to play. But the Suns still got the job done. A game of streaks. The Warriors outscored them, I think, 40-19 in the third quarter, and then get slapped at home in the fourth quarter, and the Suns come away with a big win. So that was Nurkic looks like a big piece to the Suns team that nobody's talking about. He had a good game with the Suns for the first one. So 0-2 day for us. Long season. Best bets will pick up. I promise you that. 2 games, kind of like primetime football. Sometimes I just struggle with 1 or 2 games. So no MLB, no NFL. It is all things NBA today. So hopefully we can sit back, relax, and enjoy some basketball. Before we dive in, be sure to hit that like button. Leave a comment below if you have any time at all. That really helps this channel grow, and I cannot thank you enough. 6.9 thousand subscribers. That's how close we are to 7,000. If you're new to the channel, we will provide you guys with some research help. It just, there's not much data or anything to go off of right now, but like every other sport, we'll give you guys some advice, some help. Shooters on fire, win loss records against the spread, home and away, whatever it is we end up figuring out, we will have that for you. But right now, it's just some best bets, and we're going to talk a lot of basketball. So here we go. Let's start it out with the bets recap. All right, guys, our season started out with a doozy. Like, I have never had this happen before where a shooting guard who shoots 40% from the field, who takes 3 balls, goes 3 quarters attempting 0. Only him and Jackson Hayes were the only 2 Lakers to not attempt a 3 going into the fourth quarter. It was unfreaking believable. The Lakers played a lot of ball hog ball and not a good team basketball, in my opinion. They do need to fix that if they want to go anywhere this year. It's only 1 game, but it threw off everything. I mean, one guy has the ball and he just shoots it, and there wasn't a lot of passing, a lot of assists. Austin Reeves took 2 threes finally in the fourth quarter and made 1 of 2, and we lost on the hook. I mean, guys, I did not anticipate the attempts. It wasn't about him making threes. It's just about him not getting more than 2 attempts, which should never happen again this year. But it was wild, guys. Maybe the Lakers are a team we got to watch out for because they do have a deep team. Maybe 1 game, D'Angelo Russell takes a lot of shots, then LeBron, AD. How about Anthony Davis, by the way, scoring 17 in the first half and 0 in the second half? How about Austin Reeves leading the team in rebounds after 3 quarters with 8? The game was bonkers. Let me just say that. But we lost the bet. These aren't excuses. I was just amazed at what I was seeing with Austin Reeves not even shooting threes or having many chances. Next one, over 234.5. Obviously, I thought Bradley Beal would play, which I think would help the over. But either way, guys, they just went into stretches where they just didn't score a lot. I mean, it is what it is. Klay Thompson didn't lock up or didn't score as much as I thought he would. He had an over 19.5, which I kind of like that bet too, and he just didn't get it done. Steph hit some shots, but overall the game was just kind of one team would score a lot than the other team, but they just didn't have a lot of stretches where they both were just on fire, running up and down. So the over did not hit. That wasn't even really close either. So I'm gonna try to break down the bets so you guys know this year. Game bets 0-1, player props 0-1. You know we're gonna have another category, the money line parlays, because we were awesome with those last year. Hopefully we can keep that going this year, and I have a money line parlay today. So overall, right now, the 0-2. Down 2.35 units, losing some juice, but it's 2 games where you're going to have hundreds of these bets. So let's bounce back, and it starts out with bet number 1. All right, this first one is going to be a fun bet. It is a player prop parlay with 2 of the best rookies to play in the NBA this season. Here we go. It's the 2 long, lanky boys. We got Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, 2+ blocks each. That's right, we are doing blocks. Plus 110 on FanDuel. Like I said, these are the 2 favorites for Rookie of the Year. Maybe Scoot Henderson's up there, but these 2 guys are ridiculously tall, ridiculously long, ridiculously skinny. They can block a ton of shots. Now, Wemby, 2+ blocks. His line is at 2.5. So I took an alt line on DraftKings and took it down to 2. In case you're wondering how I got that, if you want to go over 2.5, you can. But I think he's going to get it, guys. Did you just watch his last preseason game? He had 5 blocks. It was insane. His wingspan is 8 feet. 8 freaking feet. That's not even like human. That doesn't even make sense. He had 2+ blocks in 3 of 4 preseason games, and that was with limited minutes. You know, I'm not saying he's going to play 40 minutes his first game, He's going to play more than he did in the preseason, that's for sure. Dallas, not a big team for whatever that's worth. I think he's going to have many chances to get some blocks. Give me Wemby at 2+ blocks. Then we go to Chet Holmgren, my pick for Rookie of the Year. Although the way Wemby was looking in the preseason, that might be tough. This one at 2+ blocks, so over 1.5, was juiced at -190 last I saw. So that's why I'm including it into a parlay. He's another ridiculously long player, like we mentioned. He had 3+ blocks in 2 of the 4 games in the preseason. Three. We only need 2. He only played 13 and 21 minutes in those games. So that's right, 13 and 21 minutes, and he ends up getting 3 or more blocks in both of those. He's going to play a lot more minutes, obviously, in this one. I like Chet Holmgren. With blocks, I don't really take into account the opponent that much. I mean, I know I said Dallas is a big team, but I mean, these guys can block perimeter players. They could literally block a 3-point shooter when they're standing at the free throw line, jumping out on him. Wemby has done that before. So I like both these guys. Even if they have some rookie jitters or anything like that, they can still get some blocks. So give me Wemby, give me Holmgren to each get 2+ blocks at a nice +110 for our first bet. And now it's time for our world Jabbo famous Moneyline Parlay. All right, the first half of the Moneyline Parlay takes us out to Madison Square Garden. We got the Knicks hosting the Celtics. Celtics -3.5, over under of 224. My best bet in this first half of the parlay is the Boston Celtics money line, baby. If you watch my preview videos, you know I am high on this team. And just FYI, I hate the Celtics. I hate all Boston teams, but I have to do this unbiased, and that's why I picked them to win the title. So, Drew Holiday, huge upgrade over Marcus Smart, in my opinion. I know some people aren't really talking about how big of an upgrade that is. Defensively, offensively, being a leader on the floor, he is a better player. They add Kristaps Porzingis, another scorer. That's right. Not only Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they now have Porzingis who can put up 20 in any given game. Madison Square Garden will be rocking. We know that opening day against the Celtics, but the Knicks don't play that well at home. At least last year they didn't. 23 and 18 at home, 24 and 17 on the road. Actually, one game better. Why? I don't exactly know. Maybe it's that the opponents are just as fired up to play in Madison Square Garden, but so their home court doesn't scare me like the Nuggets or Warriors or Grizzlies were last year. So Knicks running it back with the same team: Jalen Brunson, Orange Julius Randle, who I think will regress this season. I'm going to be honest with you. He had some games where he just was ugly and some games where he was fine. I think he's going to get worse and worse. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but when you're just relying on Brunson and Randall, it's just not too pretty. I know RJ Barrett, he must be just a miserable headache for Knicks fans because he looks inconsistent. He has not lived up to the hype. You got some other good pieces, Josh Hart and things like that, Grimes, but it's just not enough, guys. This core four of Boston is ridiculous. I mean, you're talking Jason Tatum, an MVP candidate, Jaylen Brown, who can take over a game at any point, plays on both sides of the ball or of the court. Drew Holiday, one of the best two-way point guards in the league. Porzingis, who will light up the scoreboard some games and get some rebounds. I mean, guys, this is just too much for the Knicks team. I think the money line odds are too low. I think the spread is too low. I thought it was going to be about 5 or 6 in this one. Too much credit given to the Knicks. Celtics are ready to roll. Give me the Celtics money line as the first half of my money line parlay. Let's check out the next one. All right, the next leg takes us out to Indiana. We got the Pacers hosting the Washington Wizards. Pacers -7, over under of 235. If you watch my videos, also the preview videos, this was a sleeper team, the Indiana Pacers, for me this season. They're healthy, so all we can do is hope for the best because they weren't always healthy last season. But Tyrese Halliburton, one of the most exciting and smoothest NBA players you can watch. He should average 10 plus assists this season again. He has just been unbelievable. Seriously, he is unreal. He just signed a huge contract with Indiana. I expect him to have another good year. We got Benedict Mathurin, the second-year player now, who can attack the rim. I expect him to improve as well. You got Buddy Hield as a shooter. Miles Turner, who's healthy as of now. He can stretch the floor, hit a few threes, but also grab rebounds. And they're going up against this Wizards team, who I think is probably going to be the worst team in the NBA this year, guys. I mean, we're talking Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma. Are you kidding me? Jordan Poole's going to probably take 30 plus shots a game, by the way. I thought about him, but we'll talk about leans later. But other than that, guys, this line is -7 for a reason. Indiana at home, they're going to play fast. They're going to have an offense the Wizards cannot keep up with. Jordan Poole's going to have to be lights out for the Wizards to stay with them, I think, in this game. So give me the Pacers money line. I don't even need them to cover the spread at 7. I just need them to win. So give me the Celtics and the Pacers money line parlay +123 on FanDuel as my second best bet. Now, before we get to the leans, let's get to bet number 3. All right, the third bet takes us out to Utah, baby. That's right. We got the Jazz hosting the Sacramento Kings. Kings minus 1.5, over under of 237. Now, in this game, Kings are coming off scoring the most points in the league last season. That's right. They were a lot of fun to watch. I talked about them in the preview video. Are they going to be like the Vikings, where they win a lot of close games and then struggle the next year? We'll see. My partner Ryan, you know he loves the Kings. He talked about them. He thinks they're going to do some big things this year. But home and away records last season. Kings last year on the road, they were actually better, 25-16, a better record on the road, which is crazy because that home court advantage looked pretty legit in the playoffs with the beam and everything. The Jazz at home, this was a huge discrepancy. They were 23-18 at home last year and 14-27 on the road. I mean, they are much better in Utah. That's kind of always been the case for the Jazz. But there's no big injuries that I see in this game, so it's all hands on deck. This Jazz team's kind of a decent little team with Colin Sexton. They now have John Collins, Laurie Markkinen, and Walker Kessler. They got some pieces. I'm not saying to compete for anything serious this year, but I think they're going to be competitive, especially at home this year. But even though it's gonna be a fun game to watch, I just broke down the game and everything. I have a player prop, and it is the man, the myth, the legend, the Jabbo Hall of Famer, baby, Laurie freaking Markkinen. Boy, oh boy, did he win us some bets. Over 24.5 points. I am riding a guy who just was money for us last year. Now, his lines at the end of last season, like the last month, his points line was about 27.5. So it's kind of being reset now to 24.5. If you were lived under a rock last year, Laurie Markkinen was a stud. He was an all-star. He won most improved player. He was just dynamite for the Utah Jazz. He was the reason why they were competitive, why they had a good start to the season as well. But here's what I love about the matchup. They play the Kings. Two things the Kings do that I like. They play at a very high pace, and they don't play a lot of defense. That's absolutely beautiful. And speaking of defense, Laurie Markkinen faced the Kings twice last year. He scored 28 and 36. The Kings struggled versus small forwards last year, giving up the second most points per game at 24.43. Obviously, that's last year. It could be different this year, but the teams are pretty much the same. So that's why I like to use those numbers. When teams change a lot, it doesn't matter as much. But great matchup. I think this line is too low. It might move to 25.5 soon on DraftKings and other books. So I jumped on it, put it in the Discord at 24.5 points for my boy Laurie Markkinen. Knock down some threes. Do whatever you got to do to score some points. Get to the free throw line. He had a good preseason scoring some points. I think he's going to have another all-star type year. Gimme Markkinen to not let us down yet again, over 24.5. Now, it's time to get into some leans that I have because I want to kind of let you guys know what I've been thinking about. Again, any added plays will be in the pinned comments below. I had a busy night, so I may have another added play tomorrow with how much I was able to get into. But the first one, we kind of talked about it earlier this video. Jordan Poole over 24.5 points. It may not be a pretty 25 plus points, but my goodness, is he going to have volume? This guy shot a lot for the Warriors when he was in the game. Imagine what he's going to do with even bigger minutes for a team where it doesn't even matter if they win. He is going to jack up so many freaking shots this year. Um, if he leads the league in scoring, I wouldn't be completely surprised based on volume alone. Although I don't think he's a consistent enough shooter to do that. But yeah, like I said, 25 plus shots this game, he could easily score 25 points. So that's one lean I have. I haven't made the bet yet or anything. Another one, the Thunder -1. You know I am high on the Thunder and the Pelicans in the Western Conference this year. The addition of Holmgren will be huge on both sides of the ball. This Bulls team is blah to me, just absolutely blah. They're the same team every time. This Thunder team, I think, is going to come out motivated, excited, and take it to the Bulls. I know they are on the road in Chicago, but I don't know how much that matters. All they got to do is slow down DeRozan or Levine a little bit, and they should be good to go. So I like how they play. They play team ball. They like to get up and down. SGA is a stud, along with Giddy, Jalen Williams, all those boys. So give me the Thunder -1 as another lean. Now, I might have some more leans or plays tomorrow. There's a lot to like, guys. But without any games being played, it's a little tougher. But those are my three best bets as of right now. My two leans. Let's check out the bets recap. All right, we start out with the two long rookies. We got Wemby and Chet Holmgren, 2+ blocks each at +110 on DraftKings. And then our first moneyline parlay of the year, Celtics and Pacers at +123. And the third and final bet is our boy, Jabbo Hall of Famer, Laurie Markkinen, over 24.5 points at -122 on FanDuel. I'd probably take it at 25.5, but I wouldn't go much higher than that one. So any added plays will be in the pinned comments, and I have a feeling I'm going to add a play, not only just Jordan Poole and the Thunder. I also am looking at some other ones. So we'll see where it comes out at. But that's what I got for October 25th and the real first opening day, probably because now we have a lot of games. So let me know in the comments below what you guys have, what you any parlays, any bets, or just to say hi. Help this channel grow. Give us a second as we get in the groove of the NBA videos. We will have betting research out to help you guys out because that's one of my favorite parts. We'll do some NBA debates. We got a long, fun season ahead. So thank you guys for the support. Enjoy some NBA basketball, and we'll talk to you soon.